Hi. So, my second paper is about top global brands integrated digital and mobile efforts to reach the U.S. Hispanic market. In my previous paper, I analyzed traditional media ad campaigns from different brands who were trying to reach the Hispanic market. So this is more of a follow-up paper using those exact same brands, the 15 that I analyzed in the previous paper. But this time I wanted to look at their digital and mobile integrated campaigns. So why look at digital and mobile as in regard to Hispanics? Well, basically we know that Hispanics over-index in all types of digital media, mobile media, social media, online, any type of online media, they're online. Also, we know that from 2007, their online usage has soared by 200%, and that the mobile penetration is also rising as well. So these are all great reasons why these brands would be trying to reach Hispanics in this space. So my research questions for this study are: how do top global brands use digital and mobile campaigns to try and persuade Hispanics to purchase their products? And second, how are these digital and mobile media vehicles integrated with traditional media? So for the purposes of this study, I only wanted to look at truly integrated promotional campaigns that had more than one media vehicle in use, and preferably multiple mediums. So overall, I found that 6 brands used some form of digital media to reach Hispanics, and those were Walmart, T-Mobile, Toyota, Budweiser, Sony, and Nissan. But of these 6, only 3 of the brands actually utilized full promotional campaigns. And these 3 were T-Mobile, Toyota, and Bud Light. So out of all 6, it came down to 3 brands. But of those 3, there was a total of 7 campaigns. 3 from T-Mobile, 3 from Toyota, and just 1 for Bud Light. So as you can see, although there's not many brands playing in this space, the ones that are, like Toyota and T-Mobile, they're really focusing their dollars and they're really making a concerted effort to use digital along with other media to try to reach Hispanics because they know that Latinos are online. And so what I found is that online, they're really utilizing these Hispanic passion points like soccer and family. We saw this in traditional media as well, that this is a huge space for these big brands to play in that they know that Hispanics love, they know they can identify with. And so they're really using these things that they can identify with to reach this market. Other major themes were collectivism and soccer, like we already talked about, and masculinity. And all of these go with what we found in the traditional media space. But the 2 different ones, the major themes, is that all of these integrated campaigns use an emotional approach rather than comedy like we saw in traditional media. And most of the campaigns are either solely in English or use both English and Spanish. And a good reason for this is probably that since the Hispanic audience generally is about 10 years younger than the general market, and since they're using digital as a big push in these campaigns, you could assume that they use both English and Spanish because they know that these younger Hispanics are bicultural bilingual and that they either speak both languages or maybe only speak English. So those were the major differences I saw from this study compared to the last study. But overall, they still have, Hofstede's cultural dimensions. Most of them are about the same as traditional media. So we just wanted to go into some examples to show you how they're integrating the campaign as a whole and how digital media is really a big push. So for Toyota, the biggest one, I'm sure you probably heard of it, is Somos Muchos Latinos. And this campaign launched right after Toyota was in the news for all of the recalls. And so they really wanted to make a big push as a Toyota brand as a whole to kind of gain back this brand loyalty that they once had that they're kind of losing now. And so the main player for this campaign was Facebook. all TV, all radio, push to the Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Toyota and download your bumper sticker. And the bumper stickers were really, really popular. That was what really gained all the buzz for this campaign. And so the tagline for the campaign was Somos Muchos Latinos, Somos Muchos Toyotas, meaning we are many Latinos, we are many Toyotas. So basically saying there's a Toyota out there for everybody. And the bumper stickers that they gave out, you could either print them offline, or they really went guerrilla marketing and just went out into the public and just started handing out these bumper stickers. They said things like, Somos muchos Guatemalans, Somos muchos Chilenos, Somos muchos Puertorriqueños. So really hitting all of the different native countries that Hispanics are from, and kind of building this idea of we're all a big family, like we're in this together. And that's kind of the push that Toyota used in this campaign. And then also what was different about this one is they had a lot of PR, a lot of news stories, a lot of media coverage, because they wanted to get in the news, showing that they were doing something good, that Latinas loved, and it actually was extremely successful. And then they would take videos of when they would go out into the community and give away the bumper stickers, and they would post them on Facebook. So it was always all about Facebook, bringing it back to Facebook, really pushing digital media. And if you go to the link on the PowerPoint, you can hear one of the radio spots. And in this, again, they use soccer, talking about the Vuvuzelas at the World Cup. It's actually really funny. Another campaign that Toyota did, a lot smaller in scale, is called Paranoia, and this was for their used cars. And they really played off the idea that when you purchase a used car, you're paranoid that it's going to break down. And what I really liked about this one is that they used extremely traditional media like radio and newspaper, but then they complemented it with an interactive online banner that you can click through to go to their website. And so really it was again a play on this being paranoid. So the radio ads would have like this weird crackling noise with things clanking around, and it would say something like, were you paranoid that this was your car breaking down? If you drove a Toyota, you wouldn't be. And then same with the online interactive banners. It was a guy who was supposed to be chatting with his girlfriend, freaking out, basically thinking he was cheating on her, saying like, where are you? Are you at home? I'm coming over right now. And at the end it says, driving in an unreliable car makes you paranoid. And it's a click through to go to the Toyota website to see their awesome used cars that you can buy. This is another campaign that again uses traditional media but really has that digital hook because they know that Latinos are online. And for T-Mobile, what was interesting about them is they're the only brand who used SMS, text messaging, which clearly makes sense because they're in the business of selling mobile phones. The way they did it was very interesting and extremely integrated. Their biggest campaign, and probably the biggest one overall, was their Road to the World Cup. They did a huge campaign leading up to the World Cup, during the World Cup, and after. So it started with TV, just basic brand awareness TV ads. And then from there, as it got closer to the World Cup, they integrated a text to win flyaway sweepstakes and also a microsite, which was T-Mobile Football in Spanish.com. And really what it was you could enter to win a chance to go to South Africa to watch the World Cup, which is huge. It's a huge prize, and any Hispanic, anybody would love to have that. And they also used digital banners. And what was interesting about this is they did live streaming of the games on ESPN, which they sponsored, and then they would do pre and post roll ads during the game, which also you could enter to win a separate sweepstakes after the World Cup. And then they did World Cup viewing parties for everybody in their top DMAs, where they would come out, they would sponsor everything, huge blow-up screens. So again, this is another example of a fully integrated campaign, you know, beginning to end. You got TV ads, you have flyaway sweepstakes, you have viewing parties, everything you could ever want for everybody who loves soccer. And again, using a major Hispanic passion point like soccer to really reach this target. And then the big payoff is in digital. You know, it's a text to win sweepstakes, it's a microsite, it's the online banners. So really, they're getting their attention through this traditional media and grassroots events, and then they're pushing everybody online. And then the last one I wanted to talk about was Coach Your Team, which I also talked about in my previous presentation. But again, I think this one is really interesting because it had such a quick turnaround, and they really thought everything through with, again, the big payoff being mobile technology. And so just a quick review. They had TV ads during the World Cup, and you would text in ways that you could coach your team differently. Like, oh, I would have told him to, kick the ball left instead of right. I don't know. And then the winning text messages would be played out in a smaller screen during the actual game, like if it was actually happening. So again, using traditional media, but really the big win, the big payoff is through mobile, obviously pushing T-Mobile mobile phones, but again, knowing that Hispanics are online, they're using their mobile phones, and this is something that's really important to them, like soccer. So in the end, we see a lot of the same themes as we do in traditional media: soccer, collectivism, like focusing on family and being together, and culture and life. But then there are a lot of differences. They really played on the emotional aspect of, again, being together, being with your family, sharing something together. And then using a lot of English as compared to Spanish, because these digital online Latinos are younger and they are more integrated with the digital market and bicultural. So really, they're using digital, and big brands are realizing that, this is a space that they need to get into, and the ones who see the value, like Toyota and T-Mobile, are really pushing it. They're, spending a lot of dollars in this space, and they're integrating it into their bigger campaigns, other than just doing a banner on a website or a boring Facebook page that nobody sees. They're really pushing to the Facebook, pushing to their microsites, using mobile text messages. So this is something they see a really big value in.